Thank you very much, councillors, members of senior staff, members of the gallery. Warm welcome, and a particular warm welcome to, well, what would I say, a very distinguished member of the gallery today, and that is Mr. Peter Spears, who of course served in this chamber for some 40 years, and half of that as the Mayor of Temora Shire. So, Mr. Spears, we bid you a very, very warm welcome to the chamber. Councillors, we now go to that this meeting is being recorded and will be placed on Temora Shire Council's webpage for public information, and all present today, we are reminded that whilst we're speaking, that we're agreeing that our views and comments are being recorded and published. And we're also reminded that if or when we're speaking, that we're to be respectful to others and use the appropriate language. And Temora Shire Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures during this council meeting. So in declaring the meeting open, I now invite Reverend Ross Brinkman from the Baptist Church to please deliver our opening prayer. Thank you very much, Reverend.
Thank you. I hold a Masters in Leadership, and I'd like to pray for you as leaders today.
Thank you.
Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this group of leaders. And I want to thank you that they're servant leaders. They serve a community of people, and they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that community of people. So I want to thank you for their willingness to serve other people. Father, I want to pray for them, knowing that in leadership there's always some conflict. And so, Father, not knowing of any personally, it's nice that I can simply pray into that, Lord, and ask that, Lord, that this group would be able to maintain unity and friendship even when they disagree. And, Father, that they might be able to stand up for what is right even when they disagree. Father, I pray for each one of them that you would maintain their health and their fellowship together and a oneness of a team who really work together for one goal, even when their particular point of that might be different at times. Father, I pray for our entire town, in fact. I pray that this town would go forward, as indeed it is going forward. And I thank you for the health of our Shire Council as it is. I pray particularly for Rick as he leads the team. And Lord, I want to praise you and give thanks for this team and ask that you would be in the midst of them, compelling them forward for good things. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. Very good medicine indeed, and lovely words. Thank you. I now go to our acknowledgement of country. As we begin our meeting today, Temora Shire Council acknowledge the traditional owners of Temora Shire's land and waters, the Wiradjuri people. We acknowledge their continued connection to country and culture, and we pay our heartfelt respects to elders both past and present, acknowledging their contribution to the Temora Shire community, a place we all call home. So, apologies. Councillor Busher will be a little late, as I understand it, and we have an apology from our Assets Engineering Manager, Mr. Fisher, and the Director of Administration and Finance. No further apologies. If not, someone prepared to move, they be approved. Thank you. The Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Reinhold. Moved. Seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. And I'd also acknowledge in the chamber it is particularly pleasing to see Councillor Oliver in fine fettle because obviously with having recent heart attacks and stents put in, we're just very pleased, Councillor Oliver, that you're well and safe and happy and back meeting your council commitments, not having missed a meeting at this stage anyway. One more to go, of course, in August, but yeah, our warm and good wishes have been with you, Councillor Oliver, and your family. So now we go to declaration of any interest at this time, please. No, we're happy. For the moment, just remember you, of course, can raise it as the item is raised during the course of business. Now, we go to confirmation, please, of the June minutes of Temora Shire Council. that they be approved as a true and correct record. Thank you. The Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair, has moved that way. Is there a second for the motion, please? Thank you, Councillor Oliver. Moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. The contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Any matters arising, Madam General Manager?
Thank you. Through you, Mr Mayor. No, there isn't.
Thank you. Councillors, we now proceed to the mayoral minute, and we have two mayoral minutes today. And the first one is in relation to the New South Wales Government's levy on burials and cremations. The New South Wales Government has confirmed that from the 1st of July 2024, a new tax will be levied on cemetery operators carrying out more than 50 burials a year. For smaller operators, the levy will commence from the 1st of July of 2025. The tax will be set at $156 per burial, $63 per ash interment, and $41 per cremation. The levy is intended to fund the costs of the New South Wales Government Cemeteries Agency and thus improve the New South Wales Government's bottom line. Disappointingly, the New South Wales budget this year did not make provision to cease introduction of the levy. Temora Shire Council operates 4 cemeteries for our community, including Temora Area Park, Springdale and Trungley Hall. Temora Shire Council is considered a small operator, and so the levy is scheduled to apply from the 1st of July 2024. Cemeteries and Crematoria New South Wales, the cemeteries regulator, has advised that councils may choose whether they pass the levy on to the customer, but has not explained how else council should fund the cost of this levy. Council cannot absorb this levy into current operational budgets and will therefore have to pass on the levy to our residents and our community members. This then makes interment services more expensive for individuals and families who are grieving through what will be, for many people, the most challenging circumstances of their lives. Respectful and affordable interment services are a critical public good provided by local government cemetery operators. Most recently available CC New South Wales annual activity report shows that 110 of the 128 local government authorities in New South Wales operate cemeteries or crematoria. 14 of those councils are based in metropolitan Sydney and 96 based in rural regional New South Wales. Councils in New South Wales are responsible for 667 active cemeteries in New South Wales, accounting for 68% of the total. Councils are the largest provider of bodily interment in New South Wales, responsible for 42% of burials in the years 2022-23, and in rural and regional New South Wales this rises to more than 80% of all burials. Councils undertook 31% of ash interments of cremated remains. As a new cost shift onto councils and communities, this interment levy should be opposed in principle, but it is particularly disappointing that this levy is being imposed on the bereaved during a cost of living crisis. Local Government New South Wales' latest cost shifting report found that cost shifting had increased to $1.36 billion annually for 2021-2022. On average, this represents an additional cost of $460.67 for every ratepayer across the state, and this represents lost services, lost opportunity and lost amenity for all our residents and our communities. Pre-need purchased interments. Tens of thousands of New South Wales residents have already purchased pre-need interments, and in some cases the contracts state that no further charges can apply at the time of interment. In these cases, Council will likely not be able to pass on the costs of the levy and will have to absorb it, a direct and unfunded cost shift from the New South Wales Government onto Council. New South Wales Government revenue raising. The proposed levy would raise a substantial amount of money for the New South Wales Government. Based on interment numbers from the CC New South Wales Annual Activity Report of 2022-2023, the levy would raise more than $5.7 million. CC New South Wales total expenses for 2022-23 were less than $3 million. This disparity between proposed revenue and expected expenses suggests that the proposed interment levy has been set at an excessive level. Further, the funds collected will not go towards improving cemeteries. The funds will not be used for improved customer service or for better maintenance of cemeteries. Instead, the increased tax on grieving families will be used to fund the New South Wales Government Cemeteries Agency and improve the New South Wales Government's bottom line. This is reflective of the waste levy imposed on communities, which now amounts to almost $1 billion annually, the vast majority of which is funnelled directly into the New South Wales Government's Consolidated Revenue Fund. If the New South Wales Government intends to increase regulation of cemetery operators, it needs to justify this decision to our community and fund the costs of this regulation from its own core budget. And councillors, there is a recommendation there that Council note the New South Wales Government has announced a new cost shift onto Council and our community by imposing a new tax on burials, cremations and ash interments. And 2, write to the New South Wales Premier, Minister for Lands and Property, asking that they urgently reverse their decision to impose a new tax on all burials and cremations, with copies sent to the New South Wales Member for Cootamundra, LGNSW, the Country Mayors Association of New South Wales and REROC. And councillors, this is a campaign led by the President of LGNSW and her board and supported by the CMA. And I formally move that the Merrill Minute be adopted. Is there a seconder for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Good. Moved and seconded. There's discussion. Councillor microphone. Thank you. Councillor Judd.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Question to our Director of Environmental Services. Has the cemeteries and crematoria in New South Wales had any effect on their operations at Temora Shire yet or not?
Thank you. Councillor, the Director.
The only effect is the more requests for time-consuming reports and surveys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Judd. Further comments, discussion? The Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. As it's been said, it's just another case of cost shifting on the local government. It's unbelievable that the number of times that local government fronted the state government over the cost shifting and so forth, and yes, it just seems to be going deaf ears that they just go and do it again once again. So yeah, I don't know how we change this around, but this is this is just ridiculous. I reckon it's cruel actually to people have to, as you said, the council's going to have to pass this cost on. That just small councils can't bear this sort of cost. It's got to be passed on to the public, and it's just another cost that's just not warranted. Yeah, it's just terrible, I reckon.
And thanks, Mr Deputy Mayor. And as we know, that I think cost shifting we've been talking about for decades. It happens under no matter what government it is. There seems to be cost shifting happening on a regular basis. Councillor Good.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm a bit cynical because before the last election, the current government stated that there would be no new taxes. So, but now I would imagine they would say this is not a tax, this is a levy.
Thank you, Councillor Good. You are sceptical, aren't you? But I tend to think you may be right. But again, councillors, as you know, we don't normally enter into these sorts of statewide campaigns often. But this is one that we felt that is very, very important to take a stand on, and thus you've heard the Merrill Minute, which I have moved as Mayor and seconded by Councillor Good. There's no further discussion. Welcome to the chamber, Councillor Bushell. There's no further discussion. I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carry the motion unanimously. Thank you very much. Now go on to 7.2, the next Merrill Minute. 1. Councillors, staff and the Temora Shire community will have learnt the sad passing of another of our former Citizens of the Year, the late Ken McCubbin, noting that Mrs McCubbin, his wife, is sitting in the chamber with us this afternoon. Mr McCubbin was immersed in countless Shire community organisations, including the Temora Shire Friends of the Cemeteries, the Temora Shire Heritage Committee, and of course, a well-respected teacher at the Temora West School. Mr McCubbin was acknowledged for his efforts, along with his wife, Mrs Wilma McCubbin, in receiving a Citizen of the Year award in 2001. The thoughts and prayers of council and community remain with Mrs McCubbin and Mr McCubbin's family. In honour of our former Citizen of the Year, I invite all present in the chamber to please rise in their places and observe a moment's silence in honour of the late Mr Ken McCubbin. Thank you very much. Number 2, Council acknowledges the outstanding service of retiring Australian Local Government Association ALGA President, Councillor Linda Scott. Councillor Scott, also a Sydney City Councillor, is retiring at the upcoming September elections. Not only has Councillor Scott served as Deputy Lord Mayor of Sydney City, she was also elected as the highly regarded Local Government New South Wales President for several terms. Councillor Scott can be credited for bringing rural and regional councils into the fold of LGNSW, working hard to genuinely engage with the sector in the bush. We also thank Councillor Scott for initiating the rural and regional summits, which continue to this day. Councillor Scott is not only a local government colleague, but she is also a genuine friend to us all. Her hard work ethic, her integrity, her vision and positivity are just some of Councillor Scott's qualities we warmly admire. And Council places on record our deep appreciation to Councillor Scott. Council wishes Councillor Scott and her family nothing but the very best as she considers her next chapter. And there is a recommendation there, councillors, that we do write a warm letter of appreciation to Councillor Scott. Number 3, Council is informed that our Country Mayors Association of New South Wales Chairman Mayor Jamie Chaffey of Temora Shire has announced he will be standing down as Chairman of CMA on the 9th of August at the meeting held at Sydney's Parliament House. Mayor Chaffey will also not be recontesting the council elections in September. Mayor Chaffey has been an exceptional leader of CMA over the past 2 terms, raising the organisation to an even stronger advocacy and lobbying body of 89 New South Wales rural regional councils. Mayor Chaffey can be proud of leading his executive team and members during his proactive term as chairman. We warmly acknowledge his significant contributions and wish him well in his future endeavours. And as his Deputy Chairman, I can confirm Mayor Chaffey will be sorely missed by all of the CMA members. And I also advise Council that I will be the Acting Chairman of CMA until the AGM in Sydney's Parliament House on November 15, and with, of course, the support of the Acting Deputy Chairman, Mayor Russell Webb of Tamworth Council, the General Manager, Ms Boxall, the Director of Admin and Finance, Mrs Smith, and our Executive Assistant, Mrs Rands. And there's a recommendation, councillors, that Council write a letter of appreciation to the retiring Chairman, Mayor Chaffey. Number 4, as our New South Wales local government elections are due to take place on Saturday the 14th of September this year, Temora Shire citizens will be required to elect 9 councillors for the 2024-2028 term. I reflect on this shortened 3-year term that councillors have served. As a result of this reflection, I have been reminded of just how much this council has achieved over the past 3-year term. Accordingly, I provide a list of just some of the tremendous projects that councillors and staff have made happen through our own funding or through federal and state government assistance. So capital works projects. The Area Park Skate Park upgrade, Nixon Park and Bob Aldridge amenities building upgrade, Temora Recreation Ground women's change rooms, Nixon Park netball courts, lighting upgrade and long jump run-up, Temora Library outdoor reading room, entrance upgrade and signage, Temora Arts Centre extension, Temora Airport upgrade, Temora Pool Splash Park and the $2.2 million Temora Pool upgrade, the Temora Airport upgrades, the Temora West Park Playground and Accessibility Works, Lakes and Tenery Play Equipment, Nixon Park all received new shade sales, Gloucester Park Footpath and Bicycle Rack, lighting upgrades for Bob Aldridge Park, Temora West Sports Ground, Temora Town Tennis Courts, Area Park Pool repainting, the Temora Town Hall Theatre sound process upgrade, the Bundawarra Centre entrance upgrade, Harper Park and Area Park toilet upgrade, Lakes and Tenery bitumen resurfacing program, Federal Government playground upgrade, Bradley Park, which is nearing completion. And of course, we have the many events. You see, of course, Mary Gilmore Festival, Drench Festival, celebrating local arts and culture, Embrace Multicultural Festival, Resilience Project launched in our Temora Shire community, the Temora Shire Council Art Prize, the Bald Archie Prize exhibition, the Temora Rural Museum Annual Live exhibition, Youth Week Jamble Festival, Country Change Expo and Discovery Day, International Women's Day Author Visit, Australia Day Breakfast and Pool Party, and of course the Australia Day function at Area Park. Youth Made Markets, the Flow Isolated Seniors Initiative, Small Business Week, Careers Expo, the Mayor's Public Speaking Challenge, and again, many, many more. Strategic planning projects, some of which include the Railway Precinct Master Plan, developed with significant community input, Regional Drought Resilience Plan, prepared in partnership with Blandshire Council, Area Park and Springdale Floodplain Risk Management Studies and Plans, Disability Inclusion Plan 2023-2026 update, Temora Local Housing Strategy, which has been used to support residential rezonings for Temora and Area Park, Information Technology Strategy developed, establish the Risk Management Framework, Roads, Hoskin Street Road upgrades, Stage 1, Part 1 and Part 2, Rural Road upgrades including centre line marking, Matthews Street sealing, Giles Road gravel resheet, Wisers Road Area Park and Quandary Road amongst many others. Tara Bettrick Road, upgrade to seal Backmymossa Road, Harmon Street in Area Park, Delavan Street, Wattle Street, gravel resheets, Ness's Road, Racecourse Road, Reynolds Lane, footpaths, concrete footpath installation, Gloucester Street, Anzac Street, footpath widening, Father Hannon Oval footpath, Coolaman Street, Area Park, pedestrian bridges, Deboo Street, Aurora Street and Crowley Streets, extensive heavy patching works on rural sealed roads as part of additional funding in response to floods, curb and gutter replacements in Camp Street and underground drainage works in conjunction at Victoria Street intersection, disability parking for Temora Heated Pool, wider roads project complete that has been some decades in the making, Inglebar interpretive signage at rest area on Burley Griffin Way, solar lights installed, bitumen resurfacing program in Camp Street, Clark Street, John Rand's Place, Kitchener Road, Little Bellevue and Little Camp. And that's just some of them, councillors. Others, Community Recycling Centre, 1 million bottles and cans milestone celebrated with our Temora Lions Club. Mayoral citation to Temora Can Assist, Temora District Branch. Councillor N.A. Judd, OAM, being honoured with Lifetime Achievement Award in Local Government, being the longest serving councillor in New South Wales from 1977 to current. Submission to the Senate Committee's federal inquiry into bank closures in regional Australia, including presenting at the public hearing in Junee. The Aboriginal artwork that was launched, National Gallery of Australia Japanese Ceramics exhibition at the Temora Arts Centre, 35 years of friendship with our sister city of Azumazaki in Japan. And of course the Dustin Rose Estate Stage 1 is complete and new residential lots are registered, with Highfield Estate commenced construction and both supported by Council's Development Deferred Payment Policy. And also, of course, continue to promote the Canola Trail in partnership with Coolaman and Junee councils. I'm especially proud of the $95 million for the state from the state government, 80 million announced in 2021 and 15 million in 2024 for a new Temora District Hospital. This is a once in several generations investment in Temora Shire's very exciting present and future. These funds were not awarded because Temora Shire is a basket case council and community. It happened because we worked hard to advocate for it alongside our state member for Cootamundra, Ms Steph Cook MP, and the Murrumbidgee Local Health District. We again warmly acknowledge the former and current governments for truly believing in us as a Temora Shire council and community. We could not have achieved all of this and much, much more without the majority of councillors, without our staff and the community working side by side. I also acknowledge our federal member for Everina, the Honourable Michael McCormack MP, and Ms Steph Cook MP, member for Cootamundra. Their unwavering support of Temora Shire Council in our community is something very special, and no one will ever really know all the assistance they give us, allowing us to thrive and prosper. Number 5, at this time, councillors and the General Manager advised me that this is my only opportunity to deliver this part of my mayoral minute, as it wouldn't be appropriate, of course, at the August meeting. So at this time, and as Mayor of Temora Shire, I wish to warmly thank my fellow councillors for the past 3 years. It certainly has presented some challenges we have never experienced. However, in spite of this, we have achieved a great deal for our fellow citizens we hold so dear. It is our strong desire to serve others and make a positive difference wherever we possibly can. Council pays tribute to our 3 retiring councillors in Councillor Max Oliver, having served from 2012, Councillor Claire McLaren, served from 2016, and Councillor Lindy Reinhold, serving also from 2016. These 3 councillors have given their best, and we warmly applaud their contributions in many and varied ways. An appropriate function will be held to formally acknowledge these councillors, and further, councillors, I remind you that when we have delegates' reports at our August meeting, I will be inviting councillors to share reflections on our retiring councillors and invite our retiring councillors to respond to those words. I wish those of us remaining councillors good luck in the upcoming council elections on the 14th of September. I also extend good wishes to any new candidates who have a sincere heart for serving our Temora Shire community and choose to stand as a councillor, which is a significant commitment. Thank you to the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair. Your measured, considered and dedicated service to our Temora Shire Council and our community means a great deal to us all. I especially thank our former General Manager, Mr Lavelle, and our current General Manager, Ms Boxall. Mr Lavelle was an exceptional General Manager for us for some 28 years, and Ms Boxall, just after 12 months in the role and in her first General Manager's role, has hit the ground running and is doing a very impressive job under some exciting but also trying circumstances at times. To Council's Directors in Mrs Smith, Administration and Finance, Mr Dunstan, Environmental Services, together with our Engineering Assets Manager, Mr Fisher, Council thanks you for your commitment and dedication to your respective roles. To all Temora Shire Council staff, managers, officers, all indoor and outdoor staff, Council extends our warm and sincere thanks. You are the backbone of our Council and we're proud of you all. Mrs Anne Rands, Executive Assistant to the Mayor and General Manager, I give a particular vote of thanks to Mrs Rands, who is a most reliable, hard-working and crucial part of our organisation. Thank you to Mrs Rands for your efficiency and your patience. Thank you to Ms Grace Mannion for filling in at times as well. To my parents, Mr and Mrs Furman, I want to extend a special warm vote of thanks to them for their support as councillor and as a mayor, and they're certainly my #1 supporters. To my shop right hand and dear friend, Mrs Vicky Oliver, I warmly thank her for the strong support I receive with our business, which enables me to carry out my public life roles. The final vote of thanks goes, of course, to our Temora Shire community. Council sincerely thanks every single citizen for the support given to us and also for the roles they all play in making Temora Shire one of the strongest and successful councils and communities in Australia. And I continue to remain deeply proud to be Mayor of Temora Shire. I thank my fellow councillors for the privilege that you have given me, and to our staff and citizens of Temora Shire for your support and encouragement. And I remind us all, please be proud of what we have achieved, with much more left for us to do. And councillors, I move that the mayoral minute recommendations, the remainder of the report, be noted. Is there a second for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Good. Moved and seconded. Comments? Discussion? Councillor Judd.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Congratulations on an excellent mayoral minute outlining just what we have achieved over the past 3 years.
Thank
I
you.
will just comment on one thing, that's number 2, the retirement of Councillor Linda Scott. And I've attended the local government conference for a number of years, and I can honestly say that Councillor Scott was one of our best presidents of local government New South Wales we've had. So it's great that she's gone on to be ALGA president, and also great that she's become a friend of Temora Shire. And I think, anyway, certainly support your motion to congratulate her and letter of appreciation. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Judd. I know you and Councillor Scott have a very close relationship as well, and I mightn't agree with everything she says, but she has been exceptional to rural and regional local government, and that's something that she will be warmly remembered for the rest of time. So if there's no further discussion, I will put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare that carried. Thank you very much once again. So, councillors, let's now go to our business paper and commencing, of course, on page 11, the minutes of Council's Traffic Committee, and I was the chairman. Someone prepared to move that it be noted, received rather. Thank you, Councillor Oliver. Councillor Good, thank you. Moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. The contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Councillors, you will note there are several items there considered by the Traffic Committee that the committee considered and is presented there for Council's consideration. Councillor Good.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I did have a question for the director, the manager of, but he's not here. In relation to 3.5, the disabled parking in Hoskin Street, I had a look at it this afternoon. The parking the other side of the blister, that has a natural space because of the way the blister's shaped. And I noted that it does have the bush there and the irrigation box. But there seemed to be room closer to the gutter for a pram ramp. It would be up close near the front of the car if a car was parked there, but because there's that space, would have enough room. So I was going to ask him whether that would be possible. And I don't know whether there's any discussion about that at the meeting.
I don't recall. Thank you, Councillor Good. I don't recall, to be quite frank, the engineer. So, Madam General Manager, arrangements due to unfortunately, the last minute apology, which was unavoidable, unfortunately for the engineering asset manager. We I suppose, have to take on notice that particular comment. That particular item 4.3. If the committee, council so wished, could be deferred to the August meeting of council, pending further investigation, if that was the will of council. So, Councillor. Sorry, I'll just hold that thought, Councillor Good. Councillor Irvine.
Yeah, so that location you're talking about isn't strictly compliant with the regs, but just due to the shortage of parking in the main street, it's a sensible use of that space that is created by the blister and the tree in that location. The engineering manager was going to inquire with his Mr. Dallenberg, who's since left the organisation, as to why the pram ramp was put on the other side at the time. So there's a bit more to come back on that, but I certainly think if the pram ramp needs to be in, if we're not going to be fully compliant, the pram ramp still needs to be in a position that allows good access for wheelchairs. So if it meant moving the irrigation box or something like that, I think that'd probably still be preferable to squeezing a pram ramp in that location. That's just my thoughts on the matter. But you know, we've just got the issue, obviously, with the pram ramp being installed on the other side of the blister. If we were to use that other side, we give up 2 parks to make it compliant. I'm of the opinion to really look hard at that second option and try and bring it back to that other side, but we've just got to wait for some more advice relative to that.
Thank you. So, Councillor Good.
So I would move motions 4.1, 4.2, 4.4 and 4.5, with 4.3 remaining until we can get further advice.
So further
Remain on the table.
pardon?
Yep.
Remain on the table.
Yeah, remain on the table. Yep. Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Good. We'll take that as motion. Seconded. Thank you, Councillor Judd. Moved. Seconded. Further discussion. There's no further discussion. I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Thank you very much. Councillors, we go over to page 51, the Minutes of Council's Assets and Operations Committee, and the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair, is the chairman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I move the report be received.
Thank you. The Deputy Mayor has moved the report as received. Is there a seconder for the motion, please? Thank you, Councillor Good. Moved, seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Mr Deputy Mayor, do you have anything you wish to highlight out of the Assets and Operations Committee report, please?
Not at this stage, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillors, you have the report there for you to consider. Councillor Good.
I had a non-pecuniary, had a non-pecuniary interest, I think. Sorry.
You're right. Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Good. Councillor Irvine.
I've followed up and done a bit of collected some data on the EVX charger proposal at point 4.4 in this report. And I made a point during the preceding days to just check as often as I could practically check in my normal workday the use of the NRMA charger, and since the meeting, checking it morning and afternoons most days, there was one occasion where the NRMA charger was being used. And the vehicle, I think, is a local vehicle, because I think I've seen that same vehicle at IGA. So out of the 9 days since the meeting, I saw that vehicle charger in use once. At the same time, I'd roll around the corner and check the usage of the parks that are affected by the EVX proposal, and at most times they were fully utilised. Sometimes there was one, and I think once I saw where both parks would have been available. So I don't support that proposal, considering the low usage of the charging and the high usage of the proposed car parks by the community. I support EVX certainly putting a charger in. I think we do need additional charging options, but just not in that location. It came up at the traffic committee that the engineering assets manager was speaking about enforcement of parking times because of the issues we've got with people overstaying parking and stuff, and those parks are used a lot by the business people in the town, and I think we'd create a lot of ill feeling within the community if there were 2 vacant car parks sitting there for the majority of the time. Now, I know that when we have the fly-in, we're going to be short electric charging. And I know whenever there's another event in town, we're going to be short electric charging as it stands. But that's going to be true at all times, because you just cannot provide enough chargers when you've got an influx of visitors. But for the average day-to-day usage, which is the other 360 days of the year, I think we've got to look after the locals, and EVX can find an alternative location that isn't as impactful on the residents. So
Thank you,
I can't support
Irvine.
that. I can't support that proposal on that basis.
Thank you, Councillor Irvine, and thank you for sharing the new information. You certainly had a fair say at the committee meeting as well, and you've added the new information, so we thank you, and your vote was recorded, of course, against, as recorded in the minutes, so thank you. Councillor Irvine? Thank you. Councillor Good?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I think I've said before, but I've been at places where people have told me, people who own electric cars, that they won't go through Temora because there's only one charger and they can't risk having to wait for that other charger, other vehicle. So it is currently affecting us. I know the amount of electric cars at the moment aren't particularly high, but they are becoming increasingly higher in number. I've also kept an eye on those parking spots, although I look at it in the morning when I go to work and at lunchtime when I go to lunch. Where we propose to have this parking spot, the Claret Ash has lifted the asphalt, and so it's always the last park to be taken, and quite often it is vacant because I've parked there myself in my car and it's scraped under as I went over it. So a lot of normal sized cars don't go, although 4-wheel drives can go on there, of course. So I think it's because of the need, the fact that we're losing visitors to the town because of only having one charger. I think we do need another one.
Thank you. So effectively you're supporting the committee's recommendation, yeah. Thank you, Councillor Good. Councillor McLaren.
I think the tree issue is separate to the EV requirement, so the tree can be removed and that parking space rehabilitated for normal cars. I am of the opinion that chargers probably shouldn't be within one block of the main street for that parking reason too, and the one I saw in Wollongong was potentially 2 to 3 blocks away. So I have some empathy for what Councillor Irvine is definitely saying, and especially with the new housing estates and more potential population growth, the pressure on parking within a block of the main street will continue to increase. So that's just the comment I wanted to make.
Thanks very much, Councillor McLaren. Councillor, what I would say is we have been talking about this issue for months and months and months and months, and surely to heavens we've got to land somewhere. Before I close debate, Councillor Irvine.
Yeah, and to follow up on that point, at the meeting last month, we approved to put a budgeted amount for us to put a charger down in Victoria Street that we hope to put a fast charger down there, and we hope to actually make some money out of. So we're actually creating our own opposition, and the EVX proposal is a slow charger. It takes 4 hours to put the equivalent charge into a vehicle as the NRMA charger takes an hour. So if you had 2 cars parked at the EVX charger and you're going to charge them over 4 hours, or you could charge 4 cars at the NRMA one, charging them an hour at a time. It's still, like I say, we're putting in technology that's basically old technology into a high use position. I'm not anti the EVX proposal, I'm just anti the EVX proposal in that location. And I do think they haven't even checked with Essential Energy as to whether the pole's appropriate. And I think they're just being lazy.
So, well, Councillor Irvine, we need to be very careful in relation to the remarks.
No, that's what they've said in their letter, and they said that they would have to make inquiries with Essential even if it was suitable.
Yeah.
So I just think they're being lazy, and I think they want 2 of our really highly valuable car parks for nothing that we don't get any return of in competition with our future charger.
Thank you. No further discussion. I will put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you, noting Councillor Irvine's vote against.
We didn't have anyone who moved and seconded that the recommendation be.
Yes, Councillor Good did it all in one.
That was
No.
what's included as received.
Yes, and Councillor Good moved that the other one lay on the table, 4.3, and the remainder of the report.
That's the wrong report. That was for the traffic, so we've missed.
Oh, didn't we? Oh, why didn't you tell me? Thank you. I beg your pardon. I thought we did have. No, we didn't. I do beg your pardon. So, is someone prepared to move the report and the recommendations, please, for the Assets and Operations Committee? Thank you. Councillor Good has moved that way. Seconded for the motion, the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair. Moved, seconded. No further discussion. Not, I'll put the motion now. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried, noting Councillor Irvine, Councillor McLaren and Councillor Oliver's dissent. Thank you. And yeah, thank you for... We'll be right, we'll be better from now on. Thank you, Councillor. Let's go over to page 70, the minutes of our Economic Development Visitations Committee, and that is in the hands of the Chairman, Councillor McLaren.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that the report be received.
Thank you. Councillor McLaren has moved the report to receive. Seconded, Councillor Good. Moved, seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Councillor McLaren.
Just two reports in this report. 4.1, a much appreciated update from the Economic Development Manager, and the 4.2 on the status of various grant applications. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor McLaren. Yeah, you're quite right, Councillor McLaren, that Council, or the committee certainly were very grateful for that summary of the grant application status. It was most informative, and we're look forward to seeing that continue going forward. Any comments? Councillor Bushell.
I'd just like to move the report and recommendation, please.
Thank you. Councillor Bushell is moving the Economic Development Visitations Committee report and recommendations. Second, I thank you, Councillor Good. Moved and seconded. Discussion. Councillor Reinhold.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just wanted to highlight the Railway Precinct Master Plan. I just went and had a look at the play equipment and it just is fantastic, so good job.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Reinhold. You're quite right. It is impressive, although I think we had one little issue that we had to fix with a wobbly thingamy, but it's been fixed. Something was, yeah. Anyway, but no, you're quite right. It's excellent. So thanks, Councillor Reinhold. Well, if there's nothing further in terms of discussion on Economic Development Visitations Committee report, I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. On the contrary, no. Declare that carried. Thank you very much. Now, over to page 78, delegates' reports. We have delegates' reports, please. We have the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. On the 29th of June, I attended, along with Councillor Reinhold too, was there, the Rotary handover dinner. Good night, and yeah, Rotary continue to do a lot of very good things for not only the Temora Shire, further field and even overseas. It's certainly much appreciated. So. And then on the 2nd to the 4th of August, the General Manager himself attended the National General Assembly of Councils, Government Council in Canberra. There's as you would have seen, there's a report in the information paper put together by the General Manager. Yeah, once again, it was good to catch up with a few people from different places across the country. There's 600 or 700 people, I think, at the conference. Very good. And talking about the retiring President, Linda Scott, the one thing that impressed me with her was on the during the motions. Pretty much didn't matter where the motion come from, the mover or seconder. She could name the person and the council where they come from.
That's
It was
impressive.
only a rare time that she had to ask for a name. So that's pretty impressive, I think, across the whole of Australia. So yeah, she's, as has been said, she's done a very good job. The theme of the conference was building community trust. Very appropriate, I think. You know, if local government can't keep that trust with our community, we're a lost cause, really. And we're very fortunate in the Temora Shire that we do have that community trust, and we must do everything to keep it that way. So, but there's some excellent speakers. Actually, the new Governor General, Sam. Mosley, yeah. She that was her first official speech since taking the position on, and spoke very well. I think it's worthwhile if you ever have the chance of listening to her speak, just take it up. So, but overall, it was a very good conference, I think. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks very much, Mr. Deputy Mayor, and Council thanks you for making the time to attend this particular conference, because we know the regular LGNSW conference you're unable to attend because they've pushed it back into harvest time, of course, for us out here. So thank you and the General Manager for representing Temora Shire so well. From what my spies inform me, you both did very well. So so thank you very much. Councillor Good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On next Tuesday at 5 o'clock is the Sister City Annual General Meeting. I'd urge everyone to attend. This year, as the Mayoral Minute stated, it's 35 years since the Sister City relationship started with the Zumizaki. We have got a trip going over there to the village. They're putting us up for a weekend. They've got their harvest festival. There's going to be a civic reception, and at the moment we've got 5 people going. So if anyone would like to come, you'd be most welcome. And it should be a very unique event for anyone who attends, because we're going into their community and we're going to be part of their community for the weekend. So 5 o'clock next Tuesday at the Arts Centre.
Thank you very much, Councillor Good, and I know that that you have been promoting this a great deal, and noting again the presence of former Mayor Peter Spears, who was certainly crucial in the Sister City arrangement back in the day. So thank you very much. I now go to Councillor Judd.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Similarly to Councillor Sinclair, the 27th of June, I attended the change over dinner for the Temora Lions Club, and it was a very good night. I think past President Rob Cartwright said it was probably one of the smallest attendance in the change over many years, but it's still a good night. I had asked our director for some comments about, or in fact some figures on the benefit of the Lions Club, and I was able to give that. But basically, what they're doing in recycling paper and cardboard and things like and other things, they're saving us 400 tonnes of going into our landfill. Wow. And it's a great effort what they're doing, and really appreciate what they're doing for our community. I do note that I think it's next Tuesday, is it, Chris? Another demo of the new press, and encourage anyone to come along to have a look at the new press. But it was a great night, and thanks, representing council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Judd, for availing yourself to that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend, but it is a sobering reminder of just how blessed we are to have the Lions Club partnering with us in terms of our recycling program, and thank you for making the time to be there. Further delegates' reports, Councillor Reinhold.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the 1st of June, I went to the Arts Centre for the opening of the National Gallery loan of the Japanese ceramics. The Arthur Wicks exhibition and the launch of the Aboriginal Art Trail. It was a really good day and a heap of out-of-town people. It was good to see. On the 27th of June, I went for the Executive Committee meeting for Teabeg, followed by Beer and Business, hosted at the Aviation Museum. And the guest speaker was from the New South Wales Business Chamber, a really good attendance. And Teabeg are looking at celebrating 20 years next year. So.
What a celebration.
Yes.
Thanks, Councillor Reinhold. Just further delegates' reports. Councillors, you may be aware I was invited as Mayor to sit on the Temora Girl Guides working party to assist them with they've just had over 200% increase in insurances, so we've been trying to assist them with other members of community and the Girl Guides, and they don't ask for much, the Temora Girl Guides, and when they reach out and ask for help, we try to do what we can in terms of, helping them with strategies of lobbying, advocacy, potential fundraising options, etc. So they're continuing their good work. As I mentioned earlier, that the General Manager and I will be attending the Country Mayors meeting in August. The JO or ROC Chairman's Forum will be the day before. So we'll be attending that, and we have a meeting with Minister Moriarty. I'm delighted to advise the New South Wales Agriculture Minister. She has agreed to meet with us. Very hard minister to get to see, I have to say, and we just happened to bump into her leaving another conference and went directly, as normally you'd go through the local member, but we have advised our local member, of course, out of courtesy. So we'll be meeting with her on Thursday afternoon to discuss, of course, all things Temora Agricultural Innovation Centre and amongst others. So we'll let you know how we go there. Councillors, of course, REROC Board will next meet on the 23rd of August, and I'm advised by local government, what are they called now? Solutions, is it? Mr. Pinnock and... Anyway, formerly known as Blackadder and Associates, of course, are doing the recruitment for us for our Chief Executive Officer of REROC, and they've advised that there's a multitude of applications that they've received, and some very good ones amongst them. And all I'd have to say is they'd want to be good, of course, because we know that Mrs. Briggs is something very, very, very special to us. So we will keep you posted, councillors. We will be having the closes the end of the month, and then we'll be shortlisting early August, and by I think the 16th of August, we'll be intend to conduct interviews in Wagga Wagga. So we will keep you posted how that goes. So no further delegates' reports? No, thank you. Councillors, over to page 79, the Mayor's report for the month of June, and a recommendation that be noted on page 81. Thank you, the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair. Seconder, thank you, Councillor Good. Moved, seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. The contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Councillors, over to page 82. Motion to receive staff reports, please. Thank you, Councillor Good. Councillor Bushell. Moved, seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. The contrary, no. Declare that carried. Thank you. Over to page 83, the General Manager's report, 12.1, calendar of events.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, we have the calendar of events listed for July, August and September. And in addition, on the 28th of September is Temora Show as well. So we will include that one on the listing. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam General Manager. Councillors, you have the report there with that addition. Is someone prepared to move the recommendation with that additional event, please? Thank you. Councillor Good. Councillor Bushell, moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Contrary, no. Declare that carried. Thank you. Oh, I forgot to ask discussion. Thank you. We proceed over to page 84, 12.2, the operational plan. Thank you very much, Mr. Spears. 12.2, operational plan, the General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The report is as written. This gives an overview of the end of year reporting for the operational plan for the past financial year.
Thank you very much, and a reminder of what a busy Temora Shire Council that we have. So thank you. Councillors, you have the report there for you to consider and a recommendation that Council note the report. Councillor Good, thank you. Councillor Judd, thank you. Moved, seconded. Discussion. Councillor Bushell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On page 113, there's an item there regarding MOU for Goldenfields. I was just hoping that maybe we could, with our connections to Goldenfields, may have some assistance through our ex-technical officer, maybe. Maybe that's something that could speed along with our little connection through Alex to help that go through.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Bushell. The General Manager, you have a comment?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think we will take your suggestion up and follow that one up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, there's no further discussion. I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. And what we would say, Madam General Manager, you could pass on to all of our staff, directors, managers, indoor, outdoor, every one of them. When you look at all of that Council have in our plans, it reminds us, of how full on we are and how grateful we are to have staff to implement those decisions. So please pass on our warm thanks, and we don't take them for granted. Let's go over to page 163, 12.3, Community Strategic Plan, the General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what this report is a summary of the actions taken throughout the last financial year in relation to the delivery program, in particular focusing on the last 6 months of the delivery program, and that is Council's contribution and response to the Community Strategic Plan. Happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Madam General Manager. Councillor Bushell.
I'd just like to move the recommendation.
Thank you.
And I
So
have a
Councillor
question.
Bushell is moving a recommendation that the Community Strategic Plan for 2023-2024 is noted. Seconder, thank you, Councillor Good. Moved, seconded, discussion. Councillor Bushell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is there a difference between the square to the circle in green?
So
And could we have like a little bit of a legend within that? I'm confused as to why we have a green square and then we have a green circle, what the differentiation is.
Thank you, Councillor Bushell. That's probably a reasonable request. I couldn't see a legend, but the General Manager.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, it looks like the legend's actually dropped off on the printout of this, unfortunately. I would say that the traffic lights probably have something to do with, or the different shape would have something to do with whether or not the particular action carries forward into the new financial year, or whether or not it is completed completely. So I would need to follow that up and just confirm that with you.
Take that on notice,
we can take that on notice.
Yeah, thanks, Madam General Manager. Councillor Bushell, you're happy with that the General Manager takes that on notice. Thank you very much. There's no further discussion. If not, so I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Page 235, 12.4, the inquiry into regional bank closures, the General Manager. You need a dog ear them, like me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the report has now come out from the Senate Rural and Regional Affairs and Transport Reference Committee in relation to regional bank closures, and it's quite a substantial report, and hence why we haven't attached it to the business paper. There is a link electronically available if anyone would like to access it, but it does have a series of recommendations that have come out of the report, and I've shared them in the report for Council's reference. Happy to take any questions. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam General Manager. Councillors, you have the report there in front of you. Councillor Irvine.
Yeah, following up from that, there was strong representation by the Australian Citizens Party relative to this, and a fellow called Robbie Barwick. And in a discussion with him around this, they were pushing for Christine Holgate to have a role in perhaps exploring the Post Office Bank proposal, which Mr. Barwick indicated that one of the points of friction when Christine Holgate was in charge of Australia Post was her will to investigate something like this. So I think for rural and regional people, if someone like her was to be appointed to this position, then I think she would advocate strongly for that service to be implemented into those facilities, and it may lead to a good outcome for rural and regional people. And I do note it was good to see that Temora Shire Council were one of the councils that did support that proposal, and it's good to see that the Senate inquiry has come back and found that our support wasn't pointless, and that has a lot of merit in that proposal. So I hope that it's not just another inquiry that ends up in the scrap heap or in the shredder or wherever, in the dust of time. We certainly need something to occur out here, because it's not good enough what's happening at the moment. So anyway, that's a bit of an update from my side of the fence, but I think any opportunity that council has to support any of these proposals, well worthwhile.
Thanks very much, Councillor Irvine. Councillor Good.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Recently, the ANZ Bank put in a takeover proposal for Suncorp Bank, which is, it's got a downside in that there's one less bank, but in approving the takeover, the Treasurer, Federal Treasurer, made a condition that ANZ Bank join up or negotiate with Australia Post to have a branch, to have a service, because ANZ Bank are the only the big four banks that you can't do banking at the post office. So at least there's something good coming out of that, and it sounds like maybe they've listened to this report at some stage.
Yeah. No, thanks very much, Councillor Good. That's most informative. I go to the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Yeah, it's good to see that this all going, well, things maybe starting to happen. I'd like to move the recommendation, but add to seeing there's some recommendations there, that those recommendations be added to the recommendation from council, that council support in principle the recommendations, and also advise our federal member of those recommendations.
Yeah, right. So you're moving that way, Mr Deputy Mayor? Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Good, thank you. Moved, seconded. Discussion. Mr Deputy Mayor, I think that's a very wise motion you've got before council. I think that it's important to let the federal member know, or continue to keep him informed about our position, because there does seem to be momentum, as Councillor Irvine and Councillor Good has alluded to. So yes, I think I fully support what's before us. So discussion on the motion. I go to the Deputy Mayor.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're off. Councillor McLaren.
I mean, recommendation 3, talking about a banking code of conduct and requiring financial institutions to make a meaningful consultation before they close a branch. I mean, they're still going to close it, but anyway, it's there. So it is pleasing to see recommendation 2, where they will investigate using branch network of Australia Post. And a lot of communities like Airy Park, your post office is your public building that it has to be a catch-all for all these services for, isolated communities. So I definitely am pleased to see that in the recommendations. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor McLaren. I do fully agree. When we first read that, undertake meaningful consultation, well, it's a box that can be ticked, but you would like to think that they would be fair income if they chose to close a branch in rural regional areas. But anyway, but just remember, the motion that the Deputy Mayor is putting, Councillor McLaren, is that agree in principle. So there's still, Councillor McLaren.
one last final comment talking about banks, just to complement the Southwest Slopes Bank premises in the main street, looking absolutely first class, and what a thrill to have that investment in our community, and I hope it stays for a long time.
Thanks, Councillor McLaren. Here, and I know several of us were there at that opening of the new premises, and you were quite right, Councillor McLaren. They have invested heavily, and not only in the premises and doing them up, but also in terms of their community donations and contributions to Temora Shire organisations. It's just tremendous, it really is. Further discussion, Councillor Oliver.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. It seems that they really do put people before profit too, because they tend to have a lot more staff on than the other banks. Some they close up when there's less than 2 people there, so it's really good to see that they are employing people as well. So thank you, Mr Mayor.
No, thanks, Councillor Oliver. You're spot on. You are spot on. So no further discussion, councillors, in relation to the motion that the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair and Councillor Good have before us, and that is, Council note the report regarding the recommendation of the final parliamentary report into regional bank closures conducted by the Senate Rural, Regional Affairs and Transport References Committee, and further that Council in principle support the recommendations and write to the federal member to advise accordingly. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you very much. Over to page 238, 12.5, pre-election guide for councils. The General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have previously distributed the guide that has been prepared by the Office of Local Government, but I thought it was important to highlight key dates to council with the upcoming election and some of the things that we need to be mindful of moving into different the periods in the lead up to the election, such as the regulated period and the caretaker period, and what that means for council and council officers during this time. So I'm happy to take any questions on that. Just to note that we will be bringing forward a report to the August meeting regarding delegations during that election period, but I thought it would be best to manage those two matters separately. So this one provides you with information, and then the second report in August will be regarding delegations during that time. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Madam General Manager. I think council will find this most informative, and the communication has been very, very good for, as I understand it, for new candidates and also for those councillors recontesting. So thank you for that. Councillors, you have the report there for you to consider, and a recommendation on page 244 from the General Manager that council note the report. Councillor Judd. Councillor Judd?
Yes.
Moving the motion. Thank you. You wish to speak?
Oh, just a question to the General Manager.
Oh, sorry. I might get a seconder. Councillor Good, thank you. Councillor Judd.
Yes. Just to the General Manager, is there no more information nights or sessions available for prospective candidates for election or not?
The General Manager.
Through you, Mr Mayor. No, we will not be holding any more candidate information sessions. However, the next step of promotion will be offering opportunities for candidates to meet with myself and members of the executive, if they wish to do so, to ask any questions about, I guess, what is happening within council at this time. So we will be offering those opportunities.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam General Manager. Thank you, Councillor Judd. So moved and seconded. Further discussion? That the report be noted. If not, I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. I declare the motion carried. Thank you. Nothing of an urgent late nature from the General Manager, I assume.
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you very much. Let's go to page 252, Engineering Services Department report. As we note, the manager is a late apology. And he has nil to report at this time. We go over to page 253, Environmental Services Department report, 14.1, request from the Community Centre. I call on the Director, and before calling the Director, note that Councillor Reinhold is declaring an interest being a member of the board. So she's vacated the chamber. Thank you. So the Director.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. This is a report prepared by the Town Planner and it is as written.
Thanks, Mr Director. Councillor Bushell.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to move the recommendation. Thank you. Happy
Thank
with
you. Councillor Bushell's moving the recommendation. Seconded, Councillor Good. Thank you. Moved, seconded. Discussion. I do note, I think the General Manager, you might have answered this for me earlier, that this is at no cost to Council, as I understand it.
That's correct.
Yeah, thank you. Moved and seconded. No further discussion. If not, I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Oliver. Thank you. Welcome back, Councillor Reinhold. During your temporary absence, it was resolved by Council to adopt the recommendation on page 253, and that was carried unanimously. Thank you. Over to page 255, Administration and Finance Department report. So the Director, I understand, is enjoying some well-earned annual leave. Is that right? Yes, which is great. And we hope she's relaxing and recharging the batteries and come back in fine fettle. Now we go to page 256, correspondence, 16.1, the Barm Edmund Community Centre, the General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The report is as written. Within the donations budget for this financial year, there is $15,000 currently available.
Thank you. Yes, as we start a new financial year, of course. Councillor McLaren.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm fully supportive of this incredible celebration. It's going to be a huge weekend in Barm Edmund. I will note that probably the majority of Barm Edmund community probably do swing south and contribute economically to the Temora community. I think there's a lot of kids that go to school in Temora, and I think there's a very close relationship between the Barm Edmund community and the Temora community. So I would very much like to support this.
Yeah, thanks very much, Councillor McLaren. Yes, you're quite right. They certainly do seem to support our business sector very well and other organisations. The Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. Yes, I totally agree with Councillor McLaren. Whilst Barman is in the Bland Shire, as been said, I think the majority of the people probably come this way than go the other way. Once again, I'll recommend that Council donate $500 towards the long week, the upgrade of the Barman Community Hall.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor. Seconded, Councillor McLaren, that Temora Shire Council donates $500 to the Barm Edmund celebrating 150 years. And remember, Temora will also be celebrating their 150 years in 2030, which will, I'm sure the new council will start discussing. So thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor. Moved and seconded. Discussion. Got a seconded? Yes, Councillor McLaren, thank you. $500. No further discussion? If not, I shall put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. And I'll be sure to let the Mayor know of Bland Shire that we are more than generous at Temora Shire. Yeah, that's right. No, thank you, Council. I think that's a lovely and appropriate gesture. And we do wish them all the very best with their celebrations. Nothing in terms of correspondence of an urgent late nature, Madam General Manager?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillors, over to page 259. We have no business with notice. We have received no notice of motion. Business without notice of an urgent nature? No, thank you. Councillors, we go to page 260. A motion, please, to receive the Councillors' information paper. Thank you, Councillor Good. The Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair. Moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. The contrary, no. Declare that carried. Thank you. Councillors, anything that you wish to highlight in relation to the information paper? No. We're all happy. The Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair.
Just one thing on 261 on their report on the local government General Assembly, the Minister Kirsty McBain in her speech has pointed out there, acknowledged Temora was only 2 councillors got acknowledged for any reason during her speech, and Temora was one of those. So for that being across Australia, I think that was a pretty good big tick for our council.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Deputy Mayor, and I was delighted when you and the General Manager mentioned that. And of course, councillors, one thing that Temora Shire Council, among many things that I think that we do well and have done well over since formation, is extend warm thanks and praise. And the General Manager and I wrote a letter on behalf of councillors and staff and our citizens for the grant funds that she announced, and it just goes to show how much those 2 words mean. Thank you. So again, thanks for highlighting that, Mr Deputy Mayor. Further comments or questions of the information? But Councillor Bushell.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. In my late night reading, I've been doing a bit of, seeing what the neighbours are doing in their business papers and whatnot, and I just can't believe how informed we are as councillors, far and beyond what we get given to our neighbouring councils. It's just unreal. I know that's a bit boring reading other people's business, but well done to the staff, always keeping us informed, and to the General Manager. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Bushell, for those remarks, and I think it is important for us to remember, and I know as many of us get around in other communities and throughout the region and the state, you are quite right that we are blessed in that space, and we shouldn't take it for granted. So thank you for the reminder. Nothing further, Councillors' information paper? No. If not, in accordance with Section 10A of the Local Government Act 1993, I advise that there are several matters that are deemed confidential, and accordingly I require a motion to have those matters considered. Thank you, Councillor Oliver. Seconder. Thank you, the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair. Moved, seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Councillors and staff, welcome back. We're resuming to open council, and I now invite the General Manager to advise us of the motions that are being brought from closed session into open session. Thank you, the General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. During the meeting, the minutes of the Assets and Operations Committee held on the 9th of July 2024, it was resolved that the reports and recommendations as presented be adopted. In relation to the minutes of the Economic Development Committee held on the 9th of July 2024, it was resolved that the reports and recommendations as presented be adopted. In relation to the report on the proposed borrowings, Air Park Estate expansion, it was resolved that Council endorsed the funding proposal in relation to the Air Park Estate expansion, noting the requirement to borrow funds in the 24-25 financial year, and that a further report be presented to Council for consideration once final costings are available prior to submission of any loan application. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Madam General Manager. So, councillors, you've heard those resolutions that have been brought forward from closed session, and I'd like a motion to have those motions formally adopted in open. Thank you, Councillor Good. Councillor Reinhold. Moved, seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. I declare the motion carried. Thank you very much, councillors. There being no further business, I thank you very much. This is the second last occasion of this current council be together, so we have one more meeting together. And again, I thank you very much and declare the meeting closed.